is Doug DeMuro. Today I'm here with Kennan.
Hello.
Kennan is one of my closest friends. He has some automotive opinions, so we decided to film them. Today, we are talking about the best year for modern year for a performance car.
For sports cars, exactly. One
single year. You can't modern, because I didn't want to go into the 60s because there's all that stuff.
No, so it's like my idea is if you were going to buy a car from January 1st till December 31st within
In
one calendar year,
what was the best? Where would you want to go back to? Okay, let's go. Before I get started, be sure to check out Cars and Bids, which is my enthusiast car auction website for cool cars from the modern era with free listings. You can list your cool car for free and auction it on Cars and Bids. And you should, because we've had some great sales lately, including this Mercedes C60 AMG with the P30 development package, sold for $45,000. This wonderful new Toyota Supra, heavily modified, sold for just under $60,000, and this Porsche Boxster T sold for $57,000. If you're looking to buy or sell a cool enthusiast car from the modern era, the 1980s and up, Cars and Bids is the place to do it. With daily auctions, great selection, and free listings, check it out at carsandbids.com. Okay, so the best single automotive year. This would be very interesting. Do you want the correct answer, or do you want to give yours?
Oh, you think you have the correct answer? Okay. Well, I'm happy to go first.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Now, admittedly, this opinion is going to show some bias on the cars that we like.
Yeah.
So the year I chose was 1997.
Yeah, Dodge Intrepid, Ford Econoline.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Hyundai Accent.
So the cars that made this time: Ferrari F50, Ferrari 550, Ferrari 355.
Okay, it was a good
amazing year for Ferrari.
Yeah.
So we also had the Porsche 993 Turbo S was just introduced in 1997, which is debatably the best air-cooled 911.
So it was a very good Porsche.
Very good Porsche Ferrari.
97. Okay.
Then we also had Lotus Esprit V8 was in production. S1 Elise had just come out, and the Elise changed things for Lotus. Very good car.
Okay.
Mercedes-Benz CLK GTR was in production in 1997, which is ludicrous.
This is maybe isn't as stupid as I thought.
Yeah, you underestimate me. Mazda had the FDRX7, which you have publicly said is one of the most beautiful.
Was that still on sale in 97?
It was still on sale in 1997.
What was the last U.S. model year?
I'm not sure what the last U.S.
You're doing
model
a little
is.
Stretching here.
Well, I stretched the F50 was in production in Europe, but not in the U.S. But
hey, wait a minute. So you have to the F50. Wait a minute. Let me look up the FDRX7.
All right, you go ahead and look that up.
That was on sale in the United States, I think 95. 95 is the last model year in the US. So you had to go to Asia to pick up the RX-7 and Europe to pick up the F50. But okay, fine, continue.
What? Ducks.
Okay, continue. Who knew he had ducks?
I like ducks. Do you like ducks?
I just have the regular one.
That's great.
Okay, so FDRX7.
So for the world is what I'm considering is 1997.
Fine. I kind of did the same thing.
So Toyota, one of your favorite cars, Mark IV Supra. Mark IV Supra was available in 1997. Lamborghini Diablo SV. BMW E36 M3. Well, admittedly, 1997, BMW was just burgeoning on their golden era, which was 2001, which was another optional year. But there were other cars in 1997 that were great. The E36 M3 Euro 97 got a facelift. It was a very good car.
And what car came out that year, Kennan?
1997. Oh, wasn't it the E36 M3 convertible?
Or you're not. The E39 M5 isn't included.
Oh, E39 M5 did not come out until 1998.
Kennan is the biggest E39 M5 enthusiast on the planet.
Yes, but if I did 1998, I would lose. This is the hard thing about this, because you lose certain cars that are
That's right.
I
didn't lose any because I picked the correct year, but continue.
Oh, I'm sure it's great. But yeah. So these cars. So those are some of the cars.
Okay, what about the fact that Honda was out of the S2000 didn't exist. I guess the Integra Type R was out. The S2000 didn't exist yet. A lot of these Japanese sports cars were going away. Not really. They were all kind of still around. The SVX was gone. That was a big loss.
It was right. It was really the starts of the early 2000s where you lost some of those, but you gained cars like R34 GTR. It was a transitional period. But I think in terms of really awesome sports cars that we laud today, I think that a lot of those cars that was kind of a really golden year. Was 1997.
There was some good stuff. You make a good point. You're at the end of the air cooled. You have an amazing lineup from Ferrari. You still have the Japanese sports cars, mostly.
Mostly, and yes, so I think, so that's why
Some bad cars. I mean, the Mark III GTI was like the low point of the hot hatches. Oh,
I hate to tell you that, yeah, there are some bad cars in every single year, but yeah.
Not the year I chose.
Well, let's hear it. What year did you choose? Let's.
I chose the correct year. 2005.
I knew you were going to say 05. Please tell us why.
Okay, this list is really long, and I'm afraid to overload you because your list had the F50 and the FDRX7 and 2 or 3 others. I've got 100. I've got 100 cars on my list.
Oh wow, actual 100.
Well, it's a little lighter, but I've got a bunch.
Okay.
Carrera GT,
Shocker.
greatest car ever made.
Well, second, or fourth, I think.
Ford GT, Ford GT.
Ford GT. Oh, yeah, I can't argue with Ford GT. Okay.
Ferrari had just come out with the F430. The last mechanical manual transmission might leave you stranded on the side of the road Ferrari.
It
bolt action.
looks like a more polished frog. The F430, as good as a car.
We feel that the 360 looks like a frog.
Which, if you really look at it, it does.
The 430 was the last. Look, I'm not gonna take this from you. I have millions more cars to justify my point. The Enzo had just gone away. Although some would maybe stretch it a little. They still were making Enzos in like 09 when they got crashed, so.
Yeah, okay, we're gonna go by the production stated year.
SLR.
Oh, a wonderful 5-speed automatic.
Wonderful 5-speed automatic. And the Sterling Moss, which was a true great car.
Great mass production vehicle.
Lamborghini Murcielago. NAV12.
Yeah.
The M5 had a V10.
Yep.
Dodge had just come out with the SRT line. So you had the Charger SRT and the 300C SRT and the Ram SRT10, and those cars would kick your.
Yeah, cars that are known for being incredibly well made and joyous.
It didn't matter. It was power. You know what Dodge had in 97? You know what Dodge had in 97? They had the Viper, but they also had the Neon.
Yeah. Viper GTS, yeah, was nice.
They had the Grand Caravan. That was a big minivan year, actually. The second model year of the dual sliding doors.
Manufacturers make more than one car, but I mean, those are still tough.
The Intrepid. The Durango was like, no, it hadn't come out yet. You don't quite have that.
Fine, okay.
It and the E39 M5 both came out in 98. Okay, going back to 2005, the greatest model year in the modern automobile, the S2000.
I'm not going to argue with the S2000, it's a great car.
And the final year of the NSX. I get both the NSX and the V10 M5.
Yes, well, the V10 M5, a notoriously very reliable car.
It's a trash car. Really... We all know they have problems. It doesn't matter. They were making a V10 M5, and back then it had a warranty. Okay, continuing.
Imagine having one with a warranty.
Audi had an S4 with a V8, which they don't even do now. They were like V8 and then they dropped. 05 was like V8, V8, okay, it's 05, and then boom.
Another car renowned for its reliability.
They had troubles, but again, at the time they had 3 pedals and a warranty and a V8, and you can't get that anymore. The WRX, the STI, and the Evo were both on sale. And they were hot and they were new, and it was like, whoa.
Admittedly, I can't argue with you there on those two, but those are necessarily my type of cars. And I also think in this year, I still think these cars are more substantially important than
in
those two. In
97, you know what Subaru was selling? The Legacy GT, which didn't even have like a turbo. Okay. AMG had just added a supercharger to the E55, so the E55 had 469 horsepower.
Yep, again, another automatic, but yeah, that's true.
Yeah, 460, you couldn't handle it if it was a stick. That's why they did that.
And that's why in magazine test the E39 M5 was still decided to be the better car, but we'll move on.
All the magazines don't know what they're talking about.
No, that's right.
But it doesn't matter because I got a V10 M5 on here. The RX-8 was back, so Mazda was making a rotary-powered car again. So you're over here talking about your rotary-powered car in Asia. Hey. Here you could stroll down to Jim Smith Mazda and buy yourself an RX-8.
Well, some people would, yeah, you're right. People do look at the RX-8 and the RX-7 as being, very, very similar.
They're close. They're close. Close.
Okay.
Yeah, the RX-8 had more seats. Okay. The 997 had just come out. So the hated 996, which I love, but people hated it. Hated, the horrible 996. Fried egg headlights, gone. 997 is back. All is returned to being right in the Porsche world.
Looks good, still has bore scoring issues, but we'll move on.
Well, again, it didn't know that at the time, didn't matter. E46 M3 was still hanging on.
Yeah, just by the slightest thread, it was holding on. You're right. I mean, yes, okay.
But it was still there, making a stick shift analog E4. So you had a period there where you had the E46 M3 and a V10 M5.
It is weird to think about that because they're two very completely different generations of cars.
Totally insane.
But you're in the transition period where BMW's got bad. Like
I know,
like
but
E65 7 Series is in production during this era,
and that car should be on my list.
We were over the peak at this point when it comes to BMW. Like the V10 and
you're right.
The E19,
Except,
but
I would argue that BMW people only look at this era as bad because of reliability. If the E92 M3 and the E60 M5 had been reliable, we would consider this to be BMW's heyday.
Well, that's great. But they aren't. Like,
but it's 05. We've taken a time machine. Bush is president again. It's 05. We don't care about reliability. We're not thinking about that.
That's true, but that's not the reality.
We've never heard of TikTok. We don't even know what that is. It's the sound a clock makes at your grandparents' house.
That's right. We haven't gotten to Vine yet, which was a whole thing.
Was Vine not around in 05? Twitter was starting in 06.
I don't think Vine was yet. But anyway, the point stands.
C6 Corvette had just come out. That was a big upgrade over the C5.
Yeah, but still deeply plastic.
Lotus Elise had just come out.
Lotus Elise was around in 97.
S1 with a Rover engine. I have a Toyota engine and it was reliable. I got 50 more of these. 05, you know what came out in 05? I haven't even gotten this yet, but you know what came out in 05? The Ford Mustang. The good Ford Mustang. The first good Ford Mustang since the box body. Except for the you know what else should be on this list is the damn Terminator Cobra, which was just ending in 04, but still, they probably were some on the lot.
No, we're not stretching to there was some on the lot.
We're going by technicalities here because you're getting destroyed.
Just like the Enzo, we're going by the rules. So that's
you know what else came out in
standing
05?
for that.
CTS-V. The first CTS-V was in 04, but then it existed in 05. LS2 V8 from the Z06 manual transmission.
Again, very well-made vehicle. Great interior, as you have remarked as a former owner.
I did have one, and I loved it, and I beat everybody with that car, as long as they had lesser cars.
Yes, that is yet another great argument from you.
And the Chevy SSR.
At the pinnacle of your
Chevy
list.
SSR.
It was an interesting time, but that is an icon in a bad way. All the cars on my list are icons in great ways.
Okay, but the rest of the cars on my list are icons in great ways.
But these are, I truly believe, like, yes, there are some very good cars on your list. I can't argue with Courier GT. I love that car, but F50. I mean, it's like they're
the Mazda RX-8.
CLK GTR was insane.
The Mazda RX-8 had 130, 140 pound-feet of torque. It was a monster.
And back to your point on the F430, it's like, sure, there was like a kind of semi-reliable Ferrari, but also like it was known like for not being particularly great looking. Like it was just kind of a.
What was the 05 V12 Ferrari? Is 575?
It was still 575, yeah. So Super America.
Another fantastic car. Gallardo had just come out. Oh my God, this list is this is the right answer. You can't be sitting here telling me 97.
I'm sticking with 97 for a couple of reasons, and mostly it's like.
How many are there V8 cars on this list?
There are V8 cars. Well, 355.
Yeah, there are a couple. S1 Elise. I mean, God, that's what you're. The bug-eye thing.
The bug-eye thing, yes. The people now really like flock to as one of the greatest driving cars.
But how do you not sit and say?
Because I'll tell you why. Because at this point, 2000. You listen to this. So 2005, you're getting away from what percentage of cars on that list have paddle shifters?
All right, well let's
weren't manual
That's
only.
an interesting question. Let's take a look. Courier GT manual.
Ford GT
manual. F430 offered with a manual.
No one bought it, which is why
SLR
they killed it.
SLR was auto, but you have the CLK GTR on your list, and guess what trans is in that?
Not a 5-speed torque converter.
Murcielago offered a manual. M5 offered a manual. Dodge SRT, the Ram truck had a manual still.
M5,
they had a manual in a truck with a Viper engine. You can't tell me that is not the last gasp of insanity.
Manual M5 did not come out until 2007.
Look, you're splitting hairs, I think, at this point.
Nope. And also the A60 M5 came out in 06. I'm pretty confident.
It was the 06 model year. Again, hairs are being split. You told me that.
Oh, true. If you could buy the car, okay, I'll give you that. But
right.
But even
it was introduced in 04. Oh, great! I win.
No, like I still contend. Like I still contend for manual analog analog driving experiences. 1997.
Aren't all these cars slow?
No, yeah, you're right. The F50 is a slow car, and so is the Diablo, so is the CLK GTR, and so is the R33 GTR 400.
F50 to 0 to 60 in 3.6.
It's again very slow.
Yeah. Our new Audi RS3 does it in 3.3. Dodge Ram SRT10? You didn't even measure the 0 to 60 time because you were getting beaten over the head with this V10.
That's right, because you're rotating the earth underneath all the torque.
That's exactly right.
Look,
time was a different concept with that truck.
As a 355 owner, I will say this one thing. Admittedly, I don't feel that car is fast, but it's the sensation of speed. And
So
these
this
cars
was a sensation
deliver
of speed era.
because these cars deliver that the enjoyment and
Do you feel like these
them.
cars don't?
This car you can't ever exploit the sheer level of performance it has. Same thing with 4GT. Like you started to now get to the point where cars are becoming too fast. Like they're just on the edge of becoming E60 M5 is very fast, and it's a legitimate 200-mile-an-hour car. But like you're never going to use it like that. You can't. These cars you could actually exploit and use and enjoy.
But wouldn't you rather have the power? Like I would actually argue that the cars that were unusable came late. I mashed my foot in this car.
Yeah, in first maybe, and in second maybe, but
third even.
Well, hey, you want to do things? You can enjoy these cars legally. This car, top of third, no way. You're out of your mind.
I mean, you're right on 993. Yo, you had the R33 GTR. You didn't even have the R34.
R34 didn't come out yet.
You really should have gone 90.
I also think the 400R is such an incredibly special car. But my point with these cars is I view them as the best because they were really enjoyable cars to drive and you could actually use them. Now F50, maybe notwithstanding, that car is incredibly fast. But 355, 550, all these cars are enjoyable.
But I got S2000.
S2000.
I got RX-8.
Hey man, I
got STI. I got E46 M3. I got Elise. You can use all of those cars. This was an era where you got NC Miata. That was a pinnacle for the vehicle.
Definitely.
All of these
definitely trumps my NA, but yeah.
All of these cars are some of them were too fast, some of them were slow. That was the great thing about 05. You could choose. And the other great thing was it was the end of the line for no screens, analog, manual stuff.
Right, and this just existed in that time where that didn't exist anyway.
Dodge Intrepid.
All of these, these are
Oldsmobile Aurora. Yeah, Honda Odyssey with 4 opening doors. That's what's in your era.
Right, in your era you have, let's see, what version?
Dodge SRT! The Ram truck. Okay,
which Focus?
They took the Viper V10 and they put it in a Ram truck and they gave it a manual transmission.
The F50, they took a Formula One engine.
That's what they did for this car, and it's on my list.
Yeah, but this engine never raced anything. The F50's engine was in Monaco, so if you had an F50 and you're at Monaco, you could drive around. Yeah, well, yes, of course. It was in a Formula One car. Formula One cars do race at Monaco. In the F50, you could have an F50.
Wait, the F50's engine was actually in
a Formula One car. The basis for the block was in a Formula One car. Yes, it was shared. That was the development for it.
Oh my God, that's true.
See how little you know about cars? So the reality of this is, yeah, this car was special. There are only a handful of cars that have Formula One.
It didn't finish the Monaco. It only ran one year, 1990.
Hey man, it was
retired.
There.
It retired.
It was there.
It didn't win.
This engine was never there. And the Ford GT, that engine was shared with a pickup truck. They put it it just cobbled it together and happened to fit it in a Ford. But the thing that you're missing with all this is that these are you have icons from both era. I would argue that the late 90s was really something very special, especially because how beautiful cars were at that time.
C6.
Yeah, C6, a gorgeous car.
It was cool.
Give me a break.
What Corvette do you even have in 97? That's the first year of the C5.
First year of the C5.
Come on.
That's right. Yeah.
First year C5.
I was debated 96 or 95 would have been a good year because I think you get ZR1, C4 ZR1 was in 1995. But you lose COK GTR. In 1996, you had Porsche GT1, but I still think the COK GTR is best. That's why I settled on 97.
I don't see how you could think about best year and not think to yourself a time when the Mercy was out with an NAV12 and a manual. The SLR was out with its giant hood that you could land a helicopter on. The V10, the M5 had a V10. The Ram had a V10. The S2000, these were the cars. This was the end too, because hybrids and automatics came out after this. This was the last.
Hurrah. Breath of, I don't know what you go for here. You're having trouble. Yes, it was the last gasp for those things, but truly I feel that when I think of the cars that I really love, and I look to what year had the most of them. And I love cars from that era too, but 1997 for me,
Part of my problem also in 97 is there were just so many not good cars.
Well, sure. I mean.
But 05, everything was either had too much power or was cheap.
Sure.
But
again, like-
Neon SRT4. Dude, this is the list. '05 is the answer. That's where it is.
You're wrong, but okay.
2005, the greatest year in the history of the car. The modern car.
Or 1997,
No.
if you like cars.
Goodbye.